Truth, logic, action, power. It's the GreggHoush Show here on New Revolutionary Radio. From the Leonard School in Malden, Massachusetts, Gregg and company are here to bring a sense of ethics to your news. Whether it's politics, activism, or current events, we always seek to inform and never to deceive. Let's start the show.
Good evening and welcome to episode 37. That's right, we are
We're getting up there in age.
getting up there in age. Joining me tonight is our co-host, of course, the wonderful, amazing Kayla.
I'm still here.
She still looks like a murderer in the Google search results every time you look her up.
To be fair, you know what's even funner? Funner is a word now.
Funner's a word.
My website is the fourth page in on Google, so that's like that means
Yeah, you're getting there.
yeah. So you got more clicks, and then it'll be the third page, and then
Also joining us tonight is our other co-host,
the Mac Daddy. He's the back in Mac. He's Return of the Mac. He's the Mac truck coming your way. He's the Mac-tastic. He's the Kraft Macaroniist.
He
Kraft
sits there
Mac
ignoring all of
I
that.
know. He's spectacular.
As if it's wow. Okay, all right.
She put in more effort this time.
Yeah. Last week you were a
Last week it
little
was low,
tired on that
but-
one.
I know, because there was like so much happening. I was like all on demand, and then it all went away as fast as it came.
15
So
minutes are up.
Yep. I don't even
We
know if you get
are-
a full 15. I think it's like a Twitter 15.
Look, it's a figure of speech.
No, but I think like now it's a Twitter 15, which means it's literally a half hour.
yeah.
You know, because another hashtag comes in and like ruins your day.
How's FacebookJailed.com going? Get any more submissions?
Oh, I've been getting a ton, which is really fun. Not
Are
fun.
they good or like mostly just people asking for nudes or what's going on here?
No,
I mean, it's
okay.
the internet.
I don't want to jinx myself, but no. I've been getting a ton of stories from women. Thank God it's been people have actually like wanting to contribute. A lot of the stories are as horrible as I would expect them to be. Well, I mean, because like literally, I had this one woman who wrote me out, like showed me like these giant long posts that she wrote for her Me Too. Basically, she basically was like, I'm gonna come out about my assault, and Facebook decided that was they're gonna delete it. It didn't even say anything about men are scum and nothing. It was just a Me Too post, and Facebook said, "Nah, we're gonna delete that."
So how are you dealing with the fact that you've put yourself in a position where daily you have asked people to send you horrible things that you have to review?
I mean,
That's a harsh position
well,
that people
no, it's
find
not me
themselves in.
reviewing it. I mean, I just am like, I hear their stories, and a lot of it is, the same things that we've
So
already.
you're not verifying any of this then. We can totally just like send in whatever we want, like fake the screenshots and everything.
I mean, it's hard pressed to fake a screenshot.
No, it's
that's
super
easy.
easy. I could do that in literally
Well, I
like
mean,
10
if you want to
seconds.
be a dick and not
This is the internet. Everyone is a
No,
dick.
well, yeah, but I mean, like, only a guy would be like, oh, so I could totally, like, fuck up your whole thing and then, like, never see any change on Facebook and it just gets worse? Like, no.
See,
a woman would be like,
so
oh.
that's the type of thing that you post and then get banned for, right? Because you just said only a guy would, right?
Yeah, because only a guy would have that, reaction, as opposed to, like, women would be like, oh, my God, no, I actually have a very similar story. I thought I was the only one. That's the difference between men and women. Men are assholes.
No. The difference there is that it is happening to all the women so often that they don't have time to think of, trolling you is like, no, I actually have one of those.
Yeah, no, because we don't. Yeah, you guys get to be the trolls, and we are constantly getting the trolled. So it's like we don't think that way because we're always on the other end of it because you guys are fucking assholes.
Well, I was more referring to the idea that, a lot of people find themselves in situations where they've got to moderate content coming in and a few have told really interesting stories about quitting because they couldn't take the amount of negative content coming in, even though they had asked for it, and they were reviewing it.
I'm not asking to review or negative. I'm asking people to share similar stories of what they're getting banned for on Facebook.
Yeah, but isn't that like incredibly depressing to go through and see all that shit?
It is and it isn't. Like, it's, I guess, because it's like, it's expected. And a lot of times it's not a lot, like, I'm not getting like everyone's assault story. But I mean, if that's what people are getting like removed on Facebook, then yeah, send it my way. It's like I'm not gonna like sit there and judge it. And like I don't always read. If like someone like. If it's a long story, I usually will get the synopsis. They'll put a synopsis first, being like, "Oh, this is what I posted," da 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 da,
Right.
and then they tell them the story. And if it's if it's something that I can't handle, because they will like warn me, like because women are also always constantly thinking about other people because that's what we're taught from an early age.
Trigger warnings.
Yeah, so women do put trigger warnings in. So, but I mean, right now, the content I'm getting is perfect, and it's constant because we knew that this wasn't a one-off thing. It's not isolated. It's pretty happening. And then that one woman who she apparently has a high stress job, so she's not she's like, I'm very cautious online, like I go under a different name because my job, like I can't if I have my real name out there like on social media, like I can get fired. Well, so she's got like less than like 200 people on her page, and like Facebook now has deleted posts from August.
Wow.
On her. So it doesn't even matter how public you are on Facebook. Like Facebook is just scrolling through your page now.
I mean, I think people have to report on a lot of them, don't they?
Well, I don't think so anymore. I really don't think it's like it needs this reporting, and
there's some kind of automated system showing the moderators
or
these
scanning
posts.
for certain words.
Right, that's what I'm saying. An automated system that's scanning for words that then putting a queue together for the moderators to review.
Yeah. And then recently we all got emails. We got generated emails, all of us but what was so great about it, so they sent us all emails all at the same time yesterday. And, it was like this bullshit excuse to why they're taking down some of our posts. Meanwhile, they already gave me another email last week that said they accidentally removed one of my posts. Now they're like, we removed something recently, and let me tell you why. We draw the line at when you attack an entire gender. And it's like, really, Facebook?
I'm pretty sure you don't draw the line there because I've seen that line not being drawn.
Yeah, like there's whole groups on your Facebook with hundreds of thousands of members that are dedicated to hating women and hating like black women specifically, or like as like Muslim women. Like there's whole groups out there that are designated to just hating women, and then at the very end of it, it goes, this ticket was manually generated by our team member Eleanor. So it's like they're going the step further of being like, letting you know that we made sure that we sent this to you. And now I would say about 15.
And they made sure that a woman sent it to you.
Yep. Yeah. I'm sure Eleanor. Yeah, I'm sure she's a real go-getter.
Look, they didn't say Eleanor was the one that reviewed the post. They said that the email was generated by Eleanor.
Yeah, which means like some guy like Chad is the one.
I'm just going to assume that's his name.
What's an ugly feminist name? Eleanor.
Wow. Well, there we go. There's your update on last week's episode and all the fun stuff going on with Kayla and FacebookJail.com. Everyone check it out if you've got stuff to post that's, real.
Yeah,
post that.
Don't fake screenshots.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. Don't be like Gregg. And then
we like her. Like we like her. Don't
And then
I mean, kind of anyway. So.
Some days,
Tolerate.
That's what my dad says. And then I have a Twitter too. If you don't want to, some people just want to. They realize they'll screenshot it, and then you find me on Twitter at FacebookJailed. So
there you go. Got the name. All right. So this last week has been another fun one, including a lot just today. I mean, just today, of course, net neutrality is voted away.
Well, we started off with some good news.
Omarosa is fired, resigned, thrown out on her ass, not walked out, still staying there till January. We don't know. And Paul Ryan is probably resigning in 2018 after the midterm elections. So randomly good, randomly bad, but the big news, of course, of the week is that Roy Moore loses.
Alabama's blue now.
Or at least Alabama did the right thing for once.
Well,
black women of Alabama did the right thing.
Black men of Alabama made up a larger percentage.
98% of black women came out for the vote. I think it was 93% of black men. And then
but
white
as
people.
larger numbers, there were more men that voted.
Yeah, but black.
But either way, the black vote showed up, and
then white vote showed up for the wrong side.
Well, so what we're looking at here is 48.4% of that state felt, or at least of the people that voted in that state, felt that it was okay to vote for a child molesting predator, and that was made up largely of the white women vote.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
weirdly.
fucking suck. Well, this is the second time we voted like awfully. We did this to Trump. Yeah, I, for one, after seeing the numbers of like the white women vote, those just the white vote too. I don't know if white people should be voting anymore. I don't know if we can handle it.
I mean, we seem to be able to handle it at least kind of in some states, but man, there are a bunch of states where we just really
I think we should take away the general election. Like anytime, like state and local, maybe we can have like we'll like give it back in like bits and pieces, and we can like earn our way back up to voting for a president again.
I'm just gonna throw this out there, but after the Civil War, for a while, none of those southern states got to actually have the vote until they passed all the constitutional amendments and ratified all the constitutional amendments and everything. So, just
Something
a thought.
like that might be possible.
Yeah, but I just think the white vote. I think we might need to press pause a little bit, and we just need to do some
Well,
extreme
I
vetting
mean,
until
you
we
know.
can figure out what's going
what the
on.
hell's going on?
Yeah,
The,
'cause it's not good. It's not looking good.
One of the funny things is
They're not sending
the
their best.
1.7% write-in. There was a large percentage of the write-in that I was going to be angry with because, you needed to defeat Roy Moore. You didn't need to just not vote for him. But
I actually thought that the write-in
but then
was
the
going to be
write-in vote voted a whole lot for Nick Saban, and
I thought
mean,
it was going to be a higher
I thought that was
percentage.
funny.
Yeah, I definitely expected a higher
I thought voting for Coach to fix everything was funny. Personally.
Who's Nick Saban?
Roll Tide.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't go to Alabama.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan of that college either. I love the Iron Bowl every year, though, but I want Auburn to
don't-
spank them every
Well,
year,
I
so I was
don't-
really happy this
I
year.
don't know anything about college football other than the teams. Tony's our engineer Tony is like
Kayla doesn't care about football players till they make it into the NFL, so they can be on our fantasy team. So until
yeah,
they've
'cause I want them
been
to get
drafted,
paid.
they don't
I
exist.
want the players to get paid. Pay the players.
That's not it. I know you do, but that's still not it.
No, I do want them to get paid.
You don't care until the draft has happened, so you can put them on your team.
Well, that and also I grew up in New England. We don't have college football in New England. Why the fuck do I care about college football?
I mean, BC.
I mean, I didn't go to college, so I don't know. Like, it's not New England's not a college sports town, unless you went to the school.
I mean, yeah, it kind of depends on what you call sports. Like, I mean, they're definitely the king of rowing. I mean, if you call that a sport.
if your family's
But
from
then you
an
end up with like the Winklevoss twins, and like, who wants that?
Okay, first of all, that sounds like a wrinkly dick.
They look like it too.
Oh man, yeah, no, I mean, I don't know sports, so I wouldn't know who Nick Saban is. Sorry.
Yeah, this is a hockey town when it comes to college. All the college hockey teams around here are the really good figure skaters.
I don't even know. I don't even know.
So, anyways, we're looking at Roy Moore here. So, 1.7% write-in, a large number of them for Nick Saban. That's hilarious. We are still looking though at 48.4% voting for a child molesting pedophile.
Now, I just want to note that they expected a 25% turnout rate for this election because special elections get low turnout even by the standards of non-presidential elections, and that is just, god-awful turnout in the U.S., especially in a lot of states. Some states are better than others. Well, instead, they got just over 40% turnout, which is practically unheard of for an election like this, especially in
seriously?
Alabama. 40.46% turnout according to the Alabama Secretary of State.
Isn't like the general election like 45 or something like that?
In Alabama, it might hit 50.
On a nationwide level, yeah, it bounces between depending on how important the election really is at that point.
I know for like
45
general,
and
like
53.
for presidential elections, it's still low.
Yeah, it's like
that-
between 45, 53, I think, were the last couple.
I don't think
Yeah.
Alabama is one of the ones that hits 60, but there's only a couple that get down into the 40s really, so consistently. So they're probably at the low end of the 50s.
But 40%.
Yeah, this is seriously
large.
unbelievable turnout, but
That also means the 60% of the population didn't think it was a good idea to try and defeat the pedophile.
Or 60% couldn't vote.
the thing that
Oh, yeah, the voter disenfranchised him because they did
Yeah.
a lot of that.
Yeah,
That's true.
They
They
didn't,
tried
they didn't have an
hard.
ID, they didn't have a car.
Yeah, they did the
They probably
ID card
couldn't get out of work.
thing, and there were a lot of. I honestly think the percentages would have been swayed a lot in that a lot of the people who couldn't vote would have voted for Jones.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think like the
Voter suppression
I
is
think the
a
7
proud
and
tool of the
2% of
right.
black vote was
Mm.
probably at work or didn't have an ID.
Yeah.
Or they were like told that they couldn't vote.
But I mean, the thing that on the one hand, it's very encouraging to see that kind of turnout in a special election like this. I mean, I wish every special election this was like the minimum turnout and then had, higher turnout for all the actual elections. That would be great. But on the other hand, we got almost, we got like fully 40%, of the eligible population voting, and that's that's like half again the amount that they expected.
Yeah.
And Roy Moore still lost by 1.5 percentage points. Like, all these extra people turned out, and that was still just barely enough. I mean, on the one hand, I guess it's great that it turns out that, if everyone does show up, we can actually get rid of these assholes. But on the other hand, everyone fucking showed up, and we still barely only got rid of this asshole.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been close.
It really shouldn't.
I mean, but at the same time, like, the fact that he was elected in the first place. He's been elected how many fucking times?
Yeah. One of the things we can take from this, though, is, Jefferson, right?
Yes.
So that's where the vote came in near the end that put him over the top.
It was Montgomery, Mobile, and Jefferson.
Yeah, but Jefferson was really that late big push because he took 78% of Jefferson.
Oh, no, he had a ginormous margin.
Yeah, 78 to 21.
And Jefferson was 14% of the population. Mobile was 11.
Yeah.
I was watching it live all night. I was just looking at the numbers.
What you take from that is that rural communities are dying off. There, when you look at just the sheer numbers, the urban communities are all growing. Now, who knows what that says, in terms of how good that is for America in general with other things, agriculture, all that fun stuff. But in terms of population centers, the urban population centers are all growing. And when huge turnout happens in urban population centers, it always goes to the left.
Yeah.
And
the head speaker from ALEC had even said so. They said, we don't want more people to vote because when more people vote, it doesn't go our way.
Yep.
Right. But all of the major urban centers in all of the states of our nation are actually growing, and all of the rural ones are shrinking. So that tells me that, there's an interesting future ahead where we get to see if that holds up as the numbers grow up. Because if they do, then this thing starts to turn really blue.
Why do you think partisan gerrymandering is so big?
Right, because they're trying to find ways
They're trying to break up those urban centers because they know typically when you have a diverse group, you have a bustling metropolis, it's going to be center left. And it's going to more often than not vote left.
Yep.
That's why they break up the cities. And the reason why the rurals are dying off is because there's no opportunity.
Yeah. It's also just boring.
Yeah, have you ever lived in one? They suck.
Yeah.
I mean, some people do, but they can't. I'm sure there is a lot of people who are small town, but
there's definitely the people that they think, oh, I don't want to live in this place that's all crowded. I want to have space. I want a community of a relatively small community where all your neighbors, blah blah blah. But then you go to these places and you can't live there.
There's nothing to do.
You can't get any of the things.
It's actually pretty interesting that you brought it up at all, because right now on Huffington Post they did an interactive thing called it was it Millennial Screwed or something, and it was an interactive graphic that showed the housing crisis and the the affordable housing crash, and then you gotta go check it out on. It was the head thing on Huffington Post. We'll link it on the site tomorrow. But it was actually really interesting, and they broke down why cities are growing and what that means for societies and what it's actually meaning to the millennial generation, and so yeah. I don't know. It was just interesting they brought that up because I was going through it and I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize it was that bad.
It'll be interesting to see how that affects everything. I mean, I don't know if Roy Moore's defeat was really any kind of a referendum that we're going to see hold through to 2018. I mean, this was not only just a special election, but it was a special election.
This is definitely a special case.
Not everyone running in 2018 has been accused or found guilty of in any way sexual harassment yet. I mean, I assume at some point,
by
since
the end
they're
of
all
2018, that may have
lifelong
changed.
Politicians, that at some point
and
almost all of them will be, but
I would hope
not right
that
now.
None of the left or any of the candidates running in 2018 are twice removed from the bench and banned from a mall.
Yeah.
I feel if there should be a litmus test, have you been twice removed from the bench and have you been banned from a mall? If you say yes to one of them, you have no qualifications to run for office.
If someone got banned from a mall for shoplifting or something,
I don't really care too much about that.
Whatever.
No one cares about that one.
Right.
They want to know if you got banned from a mall.
If you were banned from a mall because you were creeping on all the teenage girls, then you are not allowed.
Yeah. And if you have to say that you're not anti-Semitic by saying you have a Jew for a lawyer,
I mean,
Right.
if you think
I
that's
mean,
no, never
And
mind.
that was a hard J too. She
Yeah.
didn't even just like off mention that she has, I have a Jewish friend.
No,
it was-
one of our
One is a
attorneys is a Jew.
Yeah, I mean
You
that
might as
was
well just
that
said,
was a
like,
hard J. That
yeah,
was not
like,
right.
She almost said it like she was pointing a finger, like,
Right.
which? like, oh my God.
It did not help. I do not believe it helped at all.
And I just want to make sure that like the horse is okay.
But now we're looking
I
at
want to know what happened to Sassy.
yes, but now we're looking at
Is she glue? I don't know.
A
if
Roy
she,
Moore who lost, who will not concede, but no automatic recount has been triggered because it needed to be within 0.5%, and it was 1.5%.
And in fact, the Alabama Secretary of State, who is in fact a Roy Moore supporter, said that if they did a recount, he doesn't think it's highly unlikely that it would change the outcome. And he also said on CNN, quote, "The people of Alabama wanted to make sure their voice was heard. Judge Moore is not the victor in this campaign."
So Judge Moore, good old Roy there, says that he is going to wait on God and let this process play out. The process played out. People voted.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah, the
like how long
process did play
does
out.
he think they're still voting?
Oh,
like,
I mean, I hate to
He thinks there's going to be a recount and the military vote that comes in, and it's not going to be certified till the 26th. So let's wait till then. But,
I mean, I hate
Yeah.
to ever give Mike Huckabee props for literally
yes,
anything.
Huckabee.
But his response to Roy Moore saying that was amazing. He tweeted out that Roy Moore won't concede, says we'll wait on God to speak. God wasn't registered to vote in Alabama, but the people who voted did speak, and it wasn't close enough for a recount.
Oh, good old Mike Huckabee, the man who once wanted to be a stand-up comedian and failed, so he decided to be a governor.
I mean, he kind of succeeded at the stand-up comedian part, just not.
The stuff he says is funny. He does laugh after almost everything he says, too. So.
Oh, yeah, that's a telltale sign that you know it's a funny joke when the person saying it laughs and no one else.
I mean, I do. Well, yeah, and no one else. But I do have to say, a lot of funny comedians laugh after almost every joke they say and laugh almost louder than the audience. Like, I mean,
Yeah, they're usually
It's a
playing
very specific style.
Yeah, and they're usually
watch Eddie Murphy Raw. He laughs so loud at the end of every joke he
yeah,
tells.
because he's probably drunk by the
but
end
they're
of it.
funny as hell.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. Mike Huckabee was.
But no one laughs along with Huckabee.
No,
They
Right,
just
no,
stare.
just
there's-
laugh at him.
Yeah, him and Kellyanne both try their ways at stand up, and it's very
Yes.
sad that someone found those videos and was like, "Hey guys, did you know they tried to do comedy?"
Oh, speaking of comedy, though, there was an amazing interview with Ted Crockett, Roy Moore's spokesperson, on The Lead with Jake Tapper.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
amazing.
Oh my god!
Anyone that didn't see this needs to look for it because it is fantastic.
I don't know which one video clip is better, that clip or the one where Jake Tapper has like with Trump being like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just talking about like, I don't know, David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan. But if you don't understand what the Klan is,
Yeah.
No, I definitely think this one was better simply because
When he stares at the camera for like 5
it's
seconds
just
afterward,
like dead air as he sits there
as
like a
he
deer in the
realizes he
headlights.
was wrong.
and you could tell that a part of him wants to cry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you see a part of him die on that screen.
Like I almost
everyone should watch the
and
Ted
it was
Crockett video.
And Jake Tapper like completely feeling that he's like, I just broke this man's spirit.
I mean, like the part at the end where he's like, "You didn't know that,"
And,
Right,
like-
he like
But then
legitimately
he
is
lets
confused.
it hang there too.
Yeah.
Like Tapper could have cut that at any second, and he waited and waited, and he was like, "Okay, points have been made. Okay, now." You know,
Yes.
he waited just long enough for it to be
Oh.
that
Calculated.
uncomfortable. It was
Yeah.
perfect.
And just to make it, it's like I broke. And Jake is just like, I just broke a man's spirit.
We'll link to that one too. It's funny
that-
as
it's-
funny as
it,
all
it
Cindy.
doesn't get old. I keep watching it, and it
I've
just
seen it
gets
a bunch
better.
already.
So much fun.
So now we wait for, I guess, the results to be actually certified on the 26th when Roy Moore then still says he's not done yet.
Because God
and
hasn't spoken.
What
And
is
so-
he? What he
And
done?
never
What is he
will.
going to keep rallying?
I
Probably.
don't know.
Is he going to pull a Trump and just constantly
I
rally?
mean, his entire thing so far seems to have been pulling a Trump. So
Is he just gonna say I won and then like try and do the
Like,
job
show up in the
like
office?
beside someone else who's doing the
He's
job?
gonna-
Like,
he's gonna
are they
ride
gonna
into
fight
Wash-
over the chair?
He's going to ride into Washington, D.C. on Sassy. And then be like, I'm here. We got my tiny gun. And then Doug Jones is like, can we call security? Can we
Yeah,
get some
can we get
security?
rid of,
Capitol Police.
Yeah, right.
So the other news that is important right now is, of course, Net neutrality was just shot down by Ajit Pai and Donald
Not
Trump's
just net
FCC.
neutrality. They shut down the internet. And they also repealed the media cap.
They repealed the media cap thanks to a bunch of lobbying by Sinclair Media,
who coincidentally wanted to expand their share of holdings in the media and already owned enough they had to worry about that cap.
And one of the guys on the commission happened to be some type of investor or lobbyist for Sinclair.
How did that happen?
I don't know. And then as he was speaking, he gave it up too. He's like, some people think that I have a conflict with Sinclair just because I work with them, but that has nothing to do with this vote. This is an outdated vote. And it's like, you just gave yourself away.
Yeah, you just aren't even trying to hide it, are you?
Yeah, it's no one brought that up. You just offered that.
Out of nowhere.
Well, on net neutrality, we all know at this point that most of the people who said they wanted the FCC to do this today were actually just fake posts by bots, and a large percentage of them were in the name of dead people.
Yeah, and in fact, I saw a thing a few days ago talking about, or this might have been a week ago now, but they looked at the FCC comments and got rid of all the ones that were definitely or probably fake.
I think they said the 200,000 was they had an insane amount of comments that come in, and of the comments they deemed I think 20 20% was legitimate.
Sounds right. And then of that, something like 90% were pro net neutrality.
Oh yeah, it was 90. It was over 90% was pro, and then
on the right side.
And of what they deemed was actual legitimate real people comments, and then even the anti ones in that were fake accounts. They weren't even real real accounts. They were from Comcast.
I mean, this shouldn't be much of a surprise though. Polling has shown that 75% of Republicans roughly oppose repealing net neutrality, and over 80% of the public in general opposes
literally 3 people in Congress wanted it. IJ Pai and his 2 little minions.
He's not even in Congress.
Yeah.
No, the FCC. So where we are now is, I think most people at this point have heard of the net neutrality debate of the FCC undoing all of this.
I will say that if no one's listened to the FCC commissioner, I don't know how to say her first name. It's Mignon and Clyburn. Clyburn's her last name. I know that one. It's Mignon. I don't know how to.
Awesome words.
That's her first name. I don't know how to pronounce it, but she gave a fire speech. Listening to, I watched it live, and not only did she, and she ended it. Oh, so great. We link it on the, if you have a chance to listen to it, if you're interested in net neutrality, which you should be, her speech is just phenomenal, because she goes into it saying the FCC, this is supposed to be a commission that's supposed to be for the consumers. She goes, we're not anymore. All they want to do is just hand it over to the corporations. They don't care what your comments are saying, because over 90% of you all wanted it, and we're about to vote for a repeal of it when majority wants to keep it. And then she goes, I'll say this. She's like, I'll leave you with this, or not leave you with this, but I'll end here by saying that, today's vote is not the final word. This agency does not have the final word on this. And she goes, and thank goodness for that.
So that leads us to where we currently are. Yes, that vote happened today. 3-2, the FCC voted on this one.
The women, 2 women voted to keep it.
Now we need to actually keep fighting. It's not over just because that vote happened today. So multiple states' attorney general are already coming up with lawsuits against the FCC
17
for
states
this.
have combined together. They've already filed suit.
Yep. The suit was filed in Washington State by Attorney General Bob Ferguson. And beyond that, there is a bill currently at the House started by Representative Sean Maloney.
Ed Markey.
Started by Sean Maloney
Yeah.
in the House. H.R. 4585 already has many co-sponsors and is moving through committee currently. Who knows if it gets out, but everyone in the House needs to hear from you that this bill needs to pass. It is called the Save Net Neutrality Act of 2017, and it would stop the changes that the FCC has tried to make today. So make sure that you are reaching out to your representatives and telling them that the Save Net Neutrality Act of 2017, which is Bill HR 4585 by Rep. Sean Maloney, needs to pass.
And Markey proposed one in the Senate too.
Markey has proposed one in the Senate, which is really good as well. And he has a couple co-sponsors on that one, but I think the House one is a little more direct in what it actually offers and has far less, I'll call it fat pork, involved in it. It is just straight undoing what the FCC did today. So let's hope that gets through. The other thing you can do, of course, is to reach out to your state attorney general if it is not already one of the states that is part of the 17-state coalition fighting the FCC on this one. The fight is not over just because this vote happened. It just means we have to up our amount of work.
There's the lawsuit, was it the AT&T lawsuit that's already still like, because during the debate or like right before the vote, they said because they well first I guess Susan Collins and who was it? Corker, I think, or Gardner, was trying to delay the vote until there was like two Republicans that wanted to delay the vote until after the they reviewed all of the comments that they got were fake, and they there was another push to delay the vote until one of the current litigations was pending an appeals court decision, and that was on because like Comcast, Verizon, and AT&T are already suing for this, so shocked that they're for it. And so it like AJ like in his thing goes, I don't know why they think we need to wait for the appeals court decision. We could just make the decision now. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Well, it is in his world, and he was able to hold a vote, and he was able to win.
Yeah, because it was 3-5, it's 3-2. Like it's a 5-person commission. You got two Democrats, and the two women they eviscerated their like the lack of the legs that they can stand on to say like
Ajit Pai just doesn't care. Everyone's calling him a corporate shill, and he just smiles and laughs and makes jokes
about it himself.
Yeah. But, he like posts his but like then the other two dudes too. Like one was the Mike O'Reilly. He was the Sinclair guy, and the other white guy, I forget his name because I don't know. Every time they would speak, it's like, I am appalled that they would say that this is going to undo all the corporate consumer protections, and this is only going to help. And it's like, how do you sit there and say that with a straight face and believe it?
I just love the fact.
I don't think he believes it. I think he's just lying.
Yeah,
he's saying exactly what his corporate owners want him to say.
I mean, I don't know how anyone could look and be like, oh, on the one side of this issue, there's all of the people that actually literally invented the internet. On the other side, there's all of the ISPs that stand to make a shitload of money if all these things people are saying they're going to do, they start doing. I wonder which group there might be telling a falsehood.
Right? And the fact that it's like the internet was made by taxpayer dollars too.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so we built this. We all paid for it. It's all ours.
Well,
that's close. It was invented under the auspices of various government contracts, and it was used
by
primarily
with taxpayer money. It was a taxpayer funded.
No. Again, so you buy a modem in 1984 for your home computer, and then you use taxpayer money for that, and then now today. You used your own personal money to buy a brand new modem. Is that new modem somehow paid for by taxpayer money? No. Most of the infrastructure in place today and almost all of the actual build out of technology and actual hardware on the internet is completely private owned and completely private developed and funded.
But it was that's like, no, it's like saying that you built a road and then you had to fill in the potholes with like, you're still creating and making a better road.
You have to get the
but the
analogy
road is
right.
a public utility just like the internet is, and the internet was created to be a public utility
by
taxpayer
not
dollars.
To Pai.
Well, I mean, also there's that minor. You said that the actual infrastructure was mostly built out by the corporations, but they got a lot of money from the government to build out that infrastructure, and I mean in the last 10, 15 years.
Sure, but I mean every industry in this country is getting those handouts thanks to the people in power.
They expressly were handed that money very specifically for that purpose, and then didn't actually do most of that work because
Oh,
fuck it,
sure,
we don't
why
have
not?
to.
Right,
the-
yeah.
the fa-
no
well,
one's
the-
watching.
The
Right.
internet in and of itself was built by like a government project.
It was absolutely a government project.
So we all own it. Like, this is ours.
Well, unfortunately, no, because the government decided to privatize shit
Yeah,
out
but
of
that's
it.
what we should be saying. Is ours. We should be taking it back. Like, we should be demanding that we should be.
It should just be deemed a utility.
It was
and
deemed a utility, and that's part of the.
That's the problem.
You know, so it's like people need to say, like, no, this is all of ours. This is our, like, we have the rights to this, and then, you know, we just need class warfare is what we need.
Well, we have class warfare. It's
We're
just
ju-
only one side is fighting.
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need. Yeah, where's the fucking lefty militias?
They got either arrested, infiltrated, or otherwise wiped out by law enforcement in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Okay, well, we need to restart some militia
I'm
groups.
Yeah, I'm just
Like,
saying,
you know, like,
answering your question.
I'll get some. We'll do some target practice. You know, we just.
that's all, Kayla. That's
No, we
definitely
need
No,
all.
it's
we need
perfectly legal to organize a militia and go out and do target practice
Yeah.
and even do
Well,
war games and stuff.
We should come up with a name for our militia. It's we need like a fun name.
Make America greater.
Make America good again.
I don't know if I want MAGA involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
That's a
Mac
good point.
Daddies. That's the militia name. So net neutrality. Again, you can keep fighting. The fight is not over. Talk to your state's attorney general. Get them in on the big lawsuit being brought against the FCC. Talk to your representatives in the House and make sure they are going for Rep. Maloney's bill. There are two Maloney's, but both of them are on this bill, so it doesn't matter which one you think I'm talking about.
And there's also my first name. My baloney has a first name.
There is. So we can move on to another fun one today. Let's actually move on to this one first.
Okay.
Good old-
What's this one?
Omarosa,
Yes.
Oh, that bitch.
the only black person in the White House, has now been removed.
Well, I mean, it is the White House, so
It is.
I
It is
guess-
Trump's White House, you
yeah.
should say, not, you know. So it looks like this person who most people had no idea what her actual job is, although when asked, she would say things like everything. So
As she's like looking, giving you the eyes of like, I'm about to kill you if you ask me that again.
yeah. It looks like she was either removed and taken off the premises by the Secret Service,
No, it definitely wasn't the Secret Service.
or she was removed by someone else, or she was asked to leave, or she resigned, or she didn't, or she was fired, or she's still working to the end of January, or she quit yesterday and is done.
Or she and John Kelly got into a a bitch slap.
I
So-
believe that falls under the was escorted out.
So what we know right now is that she isn't at the White House, that she is attempting to sell a book currently by going on all the TV shows talking about the fact that she's writing one, and that John Kelly and her had some words, and we don't know how heated they got, but it is claimed that she signed a letter of resignation.
Yes.
And we also know that the Secret Service says they did not escort her off the grounds, but then they also state that they definitely removed her clearance to come back.
Which, you know, kind of undermines all the claims about how she's continuing to work till January 20th, and it was, you know, a routine resignation.
Yeah, so, you know, what we know is mostly that we don't know almost anything about this other than she's probably gone.
And that bitch is crazy.
We do know
we
that.
also know that she then went out and gave interviews saying that she, there were a lot of things that I observed in the last year that I was very unhappy with, that I was very uncomfortable with. And then also that, and when I can, she said that she couldn't tell her story now because she's continuing to work for the White House for the next month. But then, quote, and when I can tell my story, it is profound that I know the world will want to hear, end quote.
Yeah.
Do we really want to hear her talk?
Not really,
Only if
but,
she's willing to dish
I
like
feel like that
stuff
story
that upsets
might
Trump.
have something.
I don't know if I ever really want to hear her talk. Maybe if someone else will read her words for her.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, most
Sure.
audiobooks, you know,
Yeah,
have
like,
like
I just-
professional readers.
Her and Stacey Dash need to go away forever.
Yes. And Sarah Huckabee, can she join them wherever this
I
is?
still have a soft spot for her.
Is it because she sat on you?
No, I think I love to watch her like struggle.
Okay, it is kind of fun to watch her up
like,
there trying
you know
to.
what I mean? Like, I feel like it's like a game at this point. Like, what can she fucking twist today?
Human suffering is not usually something that you're supposed to enjoy, but watching her suffer
yeah,
up there
I don't
is
know.
actually
It is.
There's a reason for the word Schadenfreude.
yes.
Yeah, no, like, and just watching her just totally like grit through her teeth, like, I'm gonna do it, Sarah. You made a promise to yourself. Just it's a delight for me. It's the few things I get joy from.
And now, of course, today we also learned that insiders and sources all over the place are saying that Paul Ryan is going to retire after
Spineless
2018.
Paul Ryan, bye.
So sources told CNN earlier that he planned on leaving from Congress after the 2018 midterms if he can pass the tax reform.
Oh, see, I heard this morning through Politico that he was looking at right after the tax cut bill was passed.
Yeah, there was
The stories have been
several-
kind of alternating
yeah,
all
there
day.
have been a few different sources, each of which has reportedly had multiple sources they talked to, but there's been a couple different variants of the account depending on who they heard from.
So the initial story was that he was leaving quickly and that he was out the door after the tax plan. And then Trump called him and he told Trump,
Said,
and this
come
publicly.
here, Paul Ryan. Come here, Ryan.
Yeah, but
Be a
then
good little boy.
afterward, Paul Ryan put out the statement that I'm not going anywhere until the midterms through his people back to Trump. So it sounds like he's going to stick around till the midterms, which,
So is he gonna run for re-election?
No, the account
Retire,
was he
resign,
is done
I
in
mean.
politics, outright
So,
done with this.
no,
So who offered him the right job to get him to leave now? Where's this revolving door going?
Or did he know he couldn't win?
I mean,
I mean, things are getting a little crazy. I have to assume with what happened in Alabama and the fact that there's, more blue showing up everywhere these days,
And Randy Bryce is getting a following.
Yeah,
that some people are starting to get scared.
if I was a Republican running in Wisconsin, I would not want to be on the ticket associated with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Just from a sheer getting elected standpoint.
Yeah, and I follow Randy Bryce online and on Twitter and stuff like that, and because I kind of like that he's a union man, and you know what I mean, and he's pretty far left, and he seems to be he's getting he's smart because he got in with the crooked guys, and so he's got that crooked media following now. And I wonder if he's been spooked, if he's actually concerned about running a campaign and winning,
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
or if maybe he doesn't have the funds because you know how the floodgates might have shut it off for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Mercers, the Kochs,
Yeah, especially the
Adelson.
Kochs because they're really pissed right now that they don't have their tax breaks yet.
Indeed. So all those big billionaires over
We
there
won't miss you.
on the right.
Bye.
So I hope to see him out along with everyone else like him.
Yeah.
And that includes a lot of people on the left too. I mean, I definitely find myself hating relatively equally, just for different reasons.
True.
The inability to seemingly get much done on the left annoys the hell out of me because they speak a lot of words I like.
And
And
don't
then the
stand up
right
for any
gets things done
values.
that I really hate. So
Well, you know
So-
how that democratic machine goes. Like, you can't just say 2 words. You have to put it through the machine, and then out comes a paragraph using the words, using semicolons and colons
that
and
weird stuff.
dashes.
And it had to be, focus group tested by the focus group carefully selected by the DNC to be representative of what they believe the population looks like.
And it's a focus group from a leader who hasn't really run a successful focus group since the 1960s.
And what a coincidence! No one in that focus group was born after the 1960s.
Yeah, it's like somehow we haven't been able. Where's our left Frank Lutz? How do we not? I'm sure there's one out there. I'm sure there's one that's doing really great work for big business and pharma. We could easily hijack them, but nope. We're we gotta focus test this. How do you feel about this, old lady about to retire?
Look, we can't risk alienating Republicans. I mean, sure, they'll never actually vote for Democrats, but
We're gonna
we
we have to keep trying.
anyway.
It's we have to put all of our focus and money into trying to get that one person to vote for us that we know is never going to
Look,
vote for us.
We could put all of that effort into getting college students to turn out, but we already know that college students don't turn out. So let's go after these people that will turn out, but will never vote for us.
Yeah.
That's a great way
Winning
to look at
strategy.
it. That sounds like exactly what Tom Perez would be doing right now.
A
But
real
mostly-
frog and scorpion
Right?
action.
I mean, the only thing I like watching Tom Perez do is go on Fox News and say really incendiary stuff to their audience. It's actually
yes, that is
like-
entertaining.
for a head of the DNC there. He's been the most fun to watch go on the right's media.
What does he
says-
say? I
He
can't
says
watch
the
the
best
right.
things. He goes on Fox News and says that Trump can't win again. He says that he said that thanks to Trump, we should be able to sweep up and take the House and Senate in 2018. He says stuff like that right on Fox News Live, and he says it louder. So as they start to cut him off and start to talk over him and say, but he just keeps going.
I wonder if that's
and
gonna
it's-
like hurt us
It's
somehow.
good to watch him do it.
I'm at this point, the strategy that the Democrats have had for so long when it comes to dealing with Fox News has been so awful that I can't help but think that there is no way for them to screw up harder than that.
Yeah, like,
Any change
yeah,
has to be an improvement by definition.
getting on the show is actually, I think, an improvement because like usually
Like-
they don't
Yeah.
even let anyone on.
Yeah, and
Like occasionally they let I think probably Angus King on or something like
Yeah,
that.
maybe.
Like if that or Susan Collins and pretended she was a Democrat.
yeah.
So that is good old Paul Ryan leaving. Let's hope.
Yeah, seriously. Bye-bye.
Don't let the door hit you on the
I know,
So
way
if
out.
all
right?
this news coverage didn't change his mind or anything.
Yeah,
or,
go just start
you know,
taking roids and like go into your bodybuilding. Like it seems to make your hairline stronger. Like you don't need to do tax cuts.
No.
Look, Paul, I'm just going to throw this out there, in case you happen to be listening to this show for some reason. I don't know why you would, but, if somehow someone gets a chance to play a clip
One
from
of your
the show,
interns
I
is
just want
like
you to
has
know
played it.
you don't need tax cuts. They have Viagra now.
Ha!
There are other ways for you to get an erection.
I know, yeah.
So let's talk about the Daily Stormers style guide
Oh,
leak.
Speaking
Yeah.
of erections.
Right? So this was all, unsurprisingly fucked up. For anyone that may not be aware, the Daily Stormer is very, very much a white nationalist, white supremacist, who, whatever label they want to call themselves, they are alt-right, they are outright racist.
They are the ones that killed Heather Heyer.
They are the shitbags among shitbags. And well, for anyone that, doesn't understand why they're called Daily Stormer, if you've ever heard of Stormfront, that's where it comes from. So they, it turns out, have a style guide for their horrible, horrible site.
Style guides.
Because you need to have guidelines and standards when
Style
you're a
guides are
racist.
specifically the standards you set for your writers and how they write their content and what type of content they're supposed to write and how, even down to how to format it and everything else. It's all of that stuff that anyone writing for you should be paying attention to. So there's a uniform tone and message on a website.
And just basic style elements, how do you
What do you
use
capitalize?
titles? Do you underline titles of books? Do you put them in italics? Like
These
do
are
you-
style
Yeah,
guides.
these are the elements of a style guide. Well, a lot of theirs was a fairly normal style guide, but there were some
Borrowed a lot from the AP style book there,
and
but
a bunch. There were a bunch of things that were just references to like Gawker and other sites. Like they've done this thing like this, and this is what everyone accepts. So do this like that. But there was a lot that wasn't. They definitely had some unique aspects.
Racist. We're talking about the racist part of them.
Some of it wasn't racist. Some of it was misogynist. Some of it was anti-Semitic. I mean, really, they had the whole grab bag of awful.
Yeah, like the Nazi site.
I mean, what a coincidence. In fact, they actually quoted Hitler or specifically referenced Hitler in the style guide multiple times.
Like a Nazi site would do.
Yeah. In fact, they said
Indeed.
things like at one point, they said, quote, "The goal is to continually repeat the same points over and over and over and over again. The reader is at first drawn in by curiosity or the naughty humor and is slowly awakened to reality by repeatedly reading the same points. We are able to keep these points fresh by applying them to current events. The basic propaganda doctrine of the site is based on Hitler's doctrine of war propaganda outlined in Mein Kampf, Volume 1, Chapter 6. If you have not read this, please do so immediately."
So basically what he's saying is, look, the reader, it might get, first he's going to see something shiny, but then if we beat them over the head by saying the same things over and over and over again, eventually it's going to stick.
Oh, it is.
That's what
it
they're
is
saying.
so much more disgusting than that because they are very open in this style guide about how everything is supposed to be written jokey and like it should be only half serious, so people won't initially will like wonder if you're joking, and people will often assume that you're joking, and then therefore they'll be willing to like listen to it because it's just jokes. And then you
yeah,
can
it's like
use
that one part where it says slowly awaken to reality by repeatedly reading the same points. It's like you're brainwashing them.
Yes.
That's brainwashing.
Yes.
I mean, it's like another of the quotes. The tone of the site should be light. Most people are not comfortable with material that comes across as vitriolic, raging, non-ironic hatred. The unindoctrinated should not be able to tell if we are joking or not. There should also be a conscious awareness of mocking stereotypes of hateful racists. I usually think of this as self-deprecating humor. I'm a racist making fun of stereotypes of racists because I don't take myself super seriously. This is obviously a ploy, and I actually do want to gas, I'm not going to use the word, but it's a slur for Jews. But that's neither here nor there. Like...
That's a quote. That's a quote in the style guide.
Correction. I modified that quote to omit the slur. The slur is in the original. There was some editorialization there to remove the actual slur.
Starts with
So,
a K.
Yeah,
In
you
multiple-
probably heard it.
In multiple places throughout the style guide, they reference the prime directive of the style guide and of the site, which is always blame the Jews for everything.
That is also a direct quote, including the part where that comes after a colon, which comes after the term prime directive.
So in this spot right here where they describe the prime directive, it says, as Hitler says,
Which is always a great way to start a sentence.
Right?
as Hitler says, people will become confused and disheartened if they feel there are multiple enemies. As such, all enemies should be combined into one enemy, which is the Jews. This is pretty much objectively true anyway, but we want to leave out any and all nuance. So that's the prime directive from the style guide
Seems
for
pretty
this site.
primely directed to one area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And they are very consistently
Yeah.
pointing this
Well,
out throughout
I mean,
it.
I guess some points that they got their direct target, and it's not like they're all over the place, you know?
Well, so, I have kind of an oddball question, I think, about this. If we look back at, all this stuff coming and originating in terms of their reading of Mein Kampf and how they interpret all of Hitler's words and his actions, really, right? And when you look back at it, it is very clear, and Hitler did use this to empower himself and to really control the population. And he did make it all about the Jews as the central enemy. Now, if you make the Jews the central enemy and you give yourself this setup where no matter what, every single thing that is wrong is due to them, and then, as Hitler did during the Holocaust, you start killing them all, what was the end game if they were all gone and all of the bad things were still happening? How do you make that, that seems like a really bad plan to me. Beyond all the other reasons it's bad,
Hitler
there's no logic or strategy in that.
Hitler had a long list of people to blame for literally everything, and once
So they would have just moved on to the next on the
that's
list
what I
as it
mean.
kept
They
happening.
were already doing it
Yeah.
anyways. They were
Yeah.
taking the gypsies and the gays.
already less than half of the victims of the Holocaust, which are themselves less than half of the victims of Hitler, were Jews.
Right.
So it wasn't exactly like he was restricting himself to begin with, but if he ran out of Jews, I feel pretty confident he would still have other
Yeah,
targets to
well,
go
I mean,
after.
and also
It's
if
just
he-
horrible.
If they
Oh, absolutely.
if they didn't know you weren't a Jew, you were a Jew.
Yeah. So
So you didn't really even have
the
to be.
Daily Stormer style guide is, well, if you can handle reading that much racism at once to get a feel for what they're really doing, by all means, take a look. It's in a Huffington Post article.
Yeah.
But if you really just, don't want to, I don't blame you. It's
No, you
pretty
shouldn't.
much just pure racist.
So, okay, I was talking with some of my girlfriends earlier because we were like, maybe the silver lining to repealing net neutrality is like maybe all of these racists get too broke to be on the internet now.
Wouldn't count
Nah.
on it.
No,
They
you'd
are
be surprised.
way
They keep
better
being
funded
able to
than you
raise
think.
money like you wouldn't believe.
No,
What-
but like the individuals, like the ones that like take this
right,
and
but
like
they
put
raise,
it like
but they raise money on crowdfunding platforms for their racist,
They
movements.
have their own crowdfunding platform specifically
Yeah,
for
they even
them.
have their own like social media platform now with
Yeah.
yeah, but
Gab.
if they can't load the page now because they can't.
Ah,
Yeah,
but
so
you see, it's like-
how is
people-
that profitable for Verizon?
Well,
That's
I mean,
the question you have to ask
Yeah, but
yourself. How does
'cause
Verizon
if
profit by
you-
slowing
yeah,
that one down?
Yeah, because you got to pay more to get on the site, so they
No,
broke
that's
you
that's
out.
not how it works. See how it works is Verizon will slow down the content from Netflix reaching you, so Netflix pays from their end to speed it up
So maybe
because
they'll-
you're already paying
so
full
maybe
price.
they'll just make Daily Stormer pay more,
There you go.
and maybe that's
So-
just gonna broke them out.
no, they'll just
Nice.
use that for fundraising.
I'm really trying to find a way to
I-
broke out trolls off the internet.
It's a great idea. I just don't know how practical it really is.
I don't know. Maybe I'm for against net neutrality now. Maybe
I think there's just
maybe
enough,
I just turned myself.
I think there's enough money in the hands of racists right now that it's going to be really hard to do that to them.
Yeah.
I think that sucks, but I do think that seems to be the case of things. But there it is. It's just
And-
kind
Well,
of hilarious
so,
that
so
that
where
leaked.
is the Daily Stormer? Is it still on the black? Where, like,
no,
what
it-
happened to them? Because I
It,
know they got kicked
They
off.
went to the dark web. They moved all around there. Then they started just posting on Gab, and then they went back to the dark web. Now they've got a domain out on the good old plain text web. I'm not giving it out. I don't
'Cause
want
fuck them.
them to have traffic. But
oh, so they're back on the regular web,
Yeah, they
like
are back
like
on the regular web.
like on a .com site.
no, but
But
on
like-
one of
like
those
a-
TLDs.
on the web. We'll just leave it there.
Really? Oh my God! How did they get back on?
They
Found a host.
they found a TLD and a host that would
Did
take.
we out the who's hosting them?
We'll have to look into that. See who it is.
Yeah, because I mean, why? Like, what this? Like, I am not one of those people that thinks there free speech should be around. Like, I think there is a limit. This, I think, is a limit.
I mean, here's the thing. Whether pretty much everyone believes in some sort of limitation on free speech. That
Right,
limitation
that has to be on intolerance and hate.
And quite honestly, if you look at this style guide, they are very clear that their entire goal is ultimately to promote violence.
Yeah.
They explicitly call this out. In fact, they say that there should be a conscious agenda to dehumanize the enemy to the point where people should be ready to laugh at their deaths. So it isn't clear that we are doing this, as that would be a turnoff to most people, and we rely on laws. And then they said that it's illegal to promote violence on the internet. At the same time, it's totally important to normalize the acceptance of violence as an eventuality / inevitability. I'm extremely careful about never suggesting violence, blah, blah, blah. But however, when someone does something violent, it should be made light of, laughed at. And then he talks about how, like, you should talk up Anders Breivik and Dylan Roof and do it in a way that, like, oh, people will accept it because it
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
sound
like-
like it's serious. Like, their goal here is to normalize this and eventually get to the point where they can commit violence.
And
That
they
is
have
expressly-
already. They killed
Yes.
Heather Heyer.
And they've violently attacked many other people.
And they have just applied to march again in Charlottesville. Like,
gotten rejected, and now
Yeah,
are going to
but they-
file a lawsuit.
but they want to march again. They want to kill again.
Yes, that is expressly their
So-
goal. And anytime you see these people online and they're you see someone, you're like, oh, they're just trolling. I mean, maybe that specific one is, but you can't say that because this is what they do. Like, they spelled it out here in this document for
You
us.
have the playbook.
I
Yeah,
know a
which is
comedian.
now
She was
unambiguous.
I know a comedian. She was made a target on the Daily Stormer a while ago before it was chased into the dark web, and it got so all of her social media and like her just like her inbox mail got so flooded that she had to shut down her website.
Oh, that's from the section in the style guide titled "Isolating and Mass Assaulting Minor Public Figures."
Yeah, no,
I'm not kidding. That's actually the direct
yeah,
quote.
no, it's like so. Like it got so much that she had to because she feared not for her safety, but like her it just got so much that like it was
emotionally overwhelming. You
and
can't
it was
deal
like
with that
it
many
was
people giving-
and her phone was like not like she was like short circuiting her devices, and she's like, look, it's not worth it. I'm just gonna shut it down for a while.
Yep.
So it's like these people like. The Daily Stormer people, this is not free speech. This is not like to me. Like, I know some people will think that that's
legally in the U.S. It is classified as free speech currently, and I think that is deeply disturbing and not really how free speech.
Yeah, no,
should be
I
working.
don't think that like this is to the point where like to have the argument of like tolerance of intolerance, like no, this is how Holocausts come around.
Yeah, no, it's like there's the saying about my right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins. Well, this is someone's nose right here.
Yeah, these are like, I don't know, like this is just, it's insane. And like, and to allow these people to just have a space and we legitimize it by giving us space and like having host sites. And like, I think the host should, like the company that is hosting, that's their new site, needs, if they don't know who they are, they need to know and they need to be outed. Because why should, like, if you're going to host it, you should be at least then associate yourself with them.
Indeed. So there you go. If you have any friends who are readers of the Daily Stormer, have some fun stuff to make them read and show them how they were programmed to like this and show them what the actual people running this site believe of them. Basically, that they are easily programmed to believe all of this junk. So
maybe you want to reconsider your friends.
Definitely, definitely. So that's us for the night. I think there's a lot of stuff to update next week, especially, but the Roy Moore one, I mean, sure, there'll be some funny stuff between now and then, but that won't end until the 26th when the results are actually certified. And Paul Ryan, boy, we'll know when he actually releases a statement, which will happen soon.
We got a purple Alabama now. We really got a Crimson Tide. Ha ha ha.
And on the net neutrality debate, please again reach out and make sure your rep is supporting the bill, HR 4585, by Rep. Sean Maloney to save net neutrality after 2017.
And if they aren't supporting the bill, ask them why.
And also maybe look up, via Open Secrets and all the other websites out there, who's funding them, because it could be Verizon. Anyways, everyone, that was episode 37. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week.
Thank you for listening. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GreggHoush Show and on Instagram at GreggHoush. If you like what you've heard and want to be a part of it, check out patreon.com/GreggHoush Show. In exchange for funding our programming, you gain access to exclusive content such as uncut editions of our podcast. We have new episodes every Thursday night. We hope you listen in. The GreggHoush Show was created by GreggHoush, executive produced by co-host Eric Gaures, and co-hosted by Kayla Avery. Other contributors include producer and writer Anna Jeffrey, co-host producer David McGuffin, and writer-engineer Robert Tortora. Theme music for this show was produced and recorded by Geneva de Colbert. Our interns include co-host Casey McLaughlin, writer-engineer Alec Greeny, writer Maddie Locicero, and associate producer, writer, and announcer William Kennedy. You're listening to New Revolutionary Radio, your call to action.